Hey guys, welcome back to part number 6 of how to build a blog with Laravel. We're really cruising along. We're going to actually get into it nitty gritty today and start turning our HTML code into Blade and Laravel code. So we're going to make this better organized and really start to take that HTML code and make it far more efficient. Now in the last video, that was part number 5.5 or 5.5. So that was an optional video. So if you might have missed it, you might want to go back and take a look at it again if you're interested. It was a long video, about a half an hour, and I basically just built out our blog in HTML and CSS only. So keeping it really, really simple. We didn't touch on any Laravel or PHP stuff, which is why I kind of mentioned you might just want to skip over into this video because that video is basically just building our HTML. And that's actually how I work, is I always build the HTML and the CSS of a website first because that's kind of the easiest to work with, and then I start converting it over into Laravel, or if I'm working with Ruby on Rails, then I'm moving it over, into that. So that's kind of how I work, and that's why I wanted to show you guys that that's how all of this starts, is we build it in HTML first, and then we do kind of these conversions that you're about to see. Okay, so coming up, we're going to be learning about one of the first ways, the most crucial ways to organize your views, and that's with templates and partials. Okay, so that's coming right up. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started with this video. We are going to, up here on my screen, as you can see, for those of you guys that didn't watch version 5.5, this is basically what we built, and it's all built with HTML and CSS, so nothing with PHP or anything. We've got kind of our homepage, as you can see here. We wanted to highlight, oops, I accidentally clicked the back button. We got our homepage here. We built kind of a sidebar over here on the side, and then we're kind of displaying our most recent posts that are going to be in our blog. So that's kind of what we built so far. And then we've got an about page, which is very basic. It's just got a header and a paragraph, and then our contact page, which has a basic contact form with a submit button. Now it's not a working contact form, but we might make it work. We will make it working at some point, but it's not going to be in this video. But we will learn about that upcoming. So if we move over to our code here, you can see that this is basically what we have. I'm going to go to our welcome page. This is the home page, and again, I'm catching you up if you guys, if it's been a while since you watched the last video or if you skipped it. Basically, we used Bootstrap to build this out, as you could probably tell from the design. I didn't want to get too complicated, so I just wanted to keep, use the basic Bootstrap. We're not trying to win any specific design awards here, so we just stuck with Bootstrap to keep it easy. We've got our navigation here. This is that top nav bar. And then inside of here, we've got one big container that contains all of the body content. We've got our Bootstrap grid system. So there's a row here. This is what we call the Jumbotron. This code right here. This is the big area, right here that kind of highlights a little bit of content. And then we've got another row below that that's basically split into two sections. There's the this 8 column, which is the posts on the left-hand side, and then down here we have a 3 column that's offset by another column. So there's a 1 column gap in the middle. We've got 8 columns, a column gap, and then 3 columns. That gets us 12 columns. And we've got our sidebar here, which we don't have any widgets yet. That's something we might work on in the future, but I just kind of wanted to have the sidebar there because that's how a lot of blogs are. That basically finishes up our container. And then down here we call our jQuery, which is required for some of the Bootstrap JavaScript elements. And then we actually pull in our Bootstrap JavaScript, which is just coming from the cloud. Now I'm going to have all this code. If you skipped the last video, I'm going to have all this code available for download from my website, jacurtis.com. And the link will be in the description. So check the link for the description if you want to download this HTML code, and then you can play along with me as we get going. Now, what we want to do in this video, and I kind of wanted to mention, we actually witnessed one of these kind of things in the last video. At the end of the last video, for those who don't remember, I actually forgot to link this home element. And we had, when we made, what we did in the last video is we actually built the home page first, and then we copied, so when we made the about page, we just copied the home page, pasted it over, and changed a few things that made the about page unique. You know, we changed like the content element, but we just copied and pasted, and then we did it again in contact. So that's kind of how we, because so much of the code is the same in all of these. Like if you look at it, and so we had simply copied and pasted all those, and then at the end of the video, I actually realized I never linked the home page on the menu. So it wasn't linked, as you see here. So we had to go back to every single page. Luckily, there's only 3, and we had to find that place and then add that bug, fix that bug basically in 3 different places. And that is not the Laravel way. That's not the programming way. If you've been working with programming long enough, you've probably heard the acronym DRY, or dry programming. And that stands for don't repeat yourself. And that's something that's fundamental throughout all programming, is we want to avoid repeating ourselves. So if you ever find yourself writing the same code over and over again, or even once you find yourself writing it and then repeating it one other time, you want to be thinking, don't repeat yourself. Okay, how do I not repeat myself? And there's different ways to do that. If we're writing inside of controllers, one of the good ways to not repeat ourselves is to take the code that we're repeating, extract it out, put it into a function, and then we can simply call the function from within our controller instead of actually having the full code that's in that function in there. And that way we can have multiple actions or multiple places. We can just call that same function. If that function comes up with a bug down the road, we're not changing it in 5 different places. We just go into that single function, change it one time, fix that bug, and now everything that calls that function will be able to take advantage of the fixed bug. So that's kind of the concept that we're working with here. Now, when working with views, there's another way to basically extract that out, and that's called templates, layouts, and partials. Okay, so collectively we just kind of call it a templating engine, and that's Blade. And so you're going to hear me use the word Blade a lot, and Blade is that's the templating engine for Laravel. And that allows us to kind of put PHP right inside of our HTML code. And Laravel basically translates it and converts it into PHP, and it keeps it really, really clean compared to us actually, writing the PHP ourselves. We're going to learn more about some of the Blade functions in a video coming up. But the one function we are going to learn today is how to organize our views better by taking advantage of some of these Blade functions that we have. One of those is layouts, and the other one is partials. So let's start with layouts. Now, layouts are designed to make repetitive websites, which basically every website is, easier to work with. The exact same problem I had in the last video where I forgot one of the, on the navigation, all of our pages shared the same navigation, and I had we'll just call it a bug. I forgot to link it, but let's call that a bug. There's a bug in the navigation, but since I had written it out 3 times, I had to repair that bug 3 times. And layouts with Blade layouts are designed to prevent that. They're designed to extract that code and only have it in one place, so that if I encounter a bug, then it only has to be fixed one time in one place, and everything that links to that can take advantage of it. And this is really useful as your projects become more complicated. We're lucky we only had 3 of them, but 3 pages that really link to this. But I mean, I have so many projects that have hundreds of pages, and you're going to have that as well as you get going as as well. So that's where Blade layouts become useful. So how do we take advantage of them? Well, let's take a look right now. The first thing we need to do is we need to create a page that is going to represent our layout. And you're just follow along with me and you'll see exactly how this works. So I'm going to go into our views. If you don't have this open yet, we're just going into our blog folder, and then we've got our resources and our views where all these other things are stored, right? All these pages we're working with are stored. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm just going to create a file in the base of the views folder. Okay, let's go ahead and save this, and we're going to call it I'm going to call it main.blade.php. Okay, save it. Let's click and shift. Okay, so main.blade.php. Wait, why is contact out here? Hold on a second. Do we have 2 contact pages? Oh, this is our old contact page. Let's go and delete this page. There we go. Okay, so we've got our main.blade.php, and this is where we're going to basically extract all of the repetitive elements from all of these pages into one single page. And then we're only going to, for like the home page, we're only going to show or code up the HTML that's unique to the home page in the welcome.blade.php. In the contact page, we're only going to have the part that's unique, and all the stuff that's shared across all of these will be stored in this file, this main.blade.php. So let's take a look at how that works. I'm going to open up let's go to our pages and then our welcome. We're going to start here. I'm going to just copy this whole page over. So copy. I'm going to go back over to our main.blade. I kind of itch, guys. I'm going to go over to our main.blade.php, and we're just going to paste it. Okay, so you're like, wait, we're copying. What's going on here? You said we're not going to have to copy. Well, we aren't in a second here, so just kind of bear with me. So what we're going to do is I am going to now let's just kind of review what is going to be the same across all of our web pages. And we're going to kind of slow down and do that. Obviously, our doc type is going to be the same across all the web pages. So we're going to keep that in our main.blade.php. Next, we open up our HTML tag. That's going to be the same in all of our pages as well. All of our pages are going to have basically the same heading. The only thing is maybe the title being changed, right? Everything else is going to be the same. I'm going to go ahead and make a note here. This is HTML. Let's say change this title for each page. Okay, perfect. We're going to link to the style sheet and all of them. So the header's basically the same. That kind of closes off the head. Then they're all going to start with a body tag, so we can keep that in here. The navigation. Okay, so this is our mobile navigation here. For those of you that don't know, this creates the little hamburger icon and slides it out. They're all going to have that. Then we've got, if we're on desktop or tablet, then we get the whole menu. That's what this is here. You can see we have our home, about, and contact. And then we also, I want to delete this span tag. We just don't need this span tag. We deleted it in the last video, and it kind of creeped through. Okay, so we've got home, about, and contact links. These are the links on the top of the navigation. That's going to be the same for all of them. The only thing that might be different is which one is classified as active. But that's not enough of a difference to justify this. We're going to talk about how to fix that soon. But so we're just going to say they're all the same. Okay? They're all the same. And then this is for, like, eventually you'll have your My Account drop down on the right-hand side. That's going to be the same for all of them. So we can keep that in here. So this whole navigation is going to be the same. Next, we've got our container. They're all going to have a container. And then we've got our rows. Now, this is where it starts to get different. Okay, so this is going to be different for every page. All of this is going to be different. And then this is going to be different. So this. So basically, the only thing that might be the same is the container. And then all of this will be the same. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this part, this big, huge chunk that's going to be different between all the pages, and delete it. It's gone. Okay? So it's deleted. But everything else here is actually what's going to stay exactly the same. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn a special element of Blade. And one thing you're going to learn when you start working with Blade is that everything that usually Blade starts with an @ sign. So anything with Blade, this kind of signals to the to Laravel that we're writing Blade now and not HTML. We write this @ sign. So we write @ sign and then the word yield. And what this will do is this will tell it your yield. So the rest of this is all going to be in the same of every page, but yield this area, this is going to be different. Okay. And let's give a title for this little section. And we're just going to call it content. This is the main content for our website. Okay, so we have a container, and we're going to leave that blank, and then we want to dynamically fill in this content. So yield content, and we're going to leave it at that. Simple as that. Okay, so let's go ahead and save the file. You'll notice that this isn't styled very pretty. It's just plain white text, and that's because Sublime doesn't actually recognize Blade as a language. by default. Now, I think I do have it installed. Let me check. If I don't, this is actually good because I can show you guys how to... I do have it installed. So PHP Laravel Blade. If I tell this that it's the Laravel Blade language, then it kind of color codes it there, and it also will help me, I think, dynamically fill it here. So we're yielding content. All right. So this is basically what we call a layout. This is what we've just created. We said all of this is going to be the same. The only thing that's different is content, and we want that to be just filled in dynamically into this area, okay? And so it's basically going to inject what we tell it is content just right inside of here and then continue outputting everything else. Let's take a look at how that works. So let's come over to our welcome.blade. And what I'm going to do now is the opposite of what we just barely did. I'm going to delete everything that is consistent and only keep the part that's unique. So as we looked at in the last video, so we decided that all of this up here was going to be the same, and we left it in our layout file. So we can delete that because we don't need it. It's going to be in our layout file. Also, all of this navigation is in our layout file, so let's go and delete that. The container was also in our layout file. Let's delete that. I'm just going to give it some space up here. You don't need that. And then all of this from the closing container, all of that down to the bottom was also in our layout file. So what I've basically done is done the opposite. I took everything that we deleted that was in between this container, all of this stuff that was deleted, I replaced it and said yield content. And then I went over to our welcome page and I deleted everything except the stuff that we deleted in the last one. Okay? And what we're going to do here is we're going to say section with our @ sign. So do @ section, and we're going to say content. And what this is going to do, oh, and then at the bottom, we need to say that it's the end of the section. So we just say end. So @ end. And what this basically says is everything inside, between this opening section and this closing end, everything inside of here is part of content. Okay, so it's labeled content. And the other thing we need to do is at the very top here is we need to tell it where that layout file exists. So we're going to use @ extends, and then we're going to say main. All right, because it extends this main.blade.php. And if this main were in a file like layout or in a folder like layouts, then we could just do layouts.main. But it's not in any file. It's just right at the base of the views folder. So we can just say main, and it's going to then go over to our main.blade.php. It's going to start at the top, continue down until it sees this yield, and this is yielding content. So it's going to go back to our page and look for a section called content, which we have, and then it's going to render all of this until it gets to the end. Then it's going to go back to our layout file, and it's going to continue unless it runs into any other yields, which it's not going to in this case. So let's go ahead and save everything, and let's open it up in our browser and see if everything's working. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh, and we have an error. Okay, so what did we do wrong? Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, so I know what I did wrong. Let's go back to our blade, and I led you guys astray when I said that you need to do @ end. This is how it used to be in Laravel 4, 4.2, whatever. Apparently now it's section. It's end section. There we go. You can see that the color changed correctly. So instead of @ end, we do @ end section. That was my bad. I'm used to Laravel 4, and in Laravel 5, the new version of Laravel, I think even Laravel 5 they did end. Anyway, regardless, this is how you do it now. So this is Laravel changes very quickly, and that's one of the things I've actually been a little frustrated with, is Laravel changes some significant things pretty rapidly because it's a pretty early stage framework. And so it's growing really, really quickly, and they make lots of changes like that. But let's try this again. This should be working. Okay, there we go. We refresh the page, and now it's working. So as you can see, even though in our page over here, we don't actually have that top navigation, it is pulled in through here, that top navigation. And so that's pulled in the footer and all of this. Now we can see that if we go to our view page source, you can see that The doc type is being pulled in. Our Bootstrap CSS is being pulled in. That whole navigation is being pulled in. That container is being pulled in. And here's where it yielded. And then it pulled everything in from our main page. And then we went back to our layout file and all of this was output. So what we've got is almost the exact same thing as what we had before. Basically exactly the same thing as what we had before. But now we've extracted it out so that welcome.blade.php only has the unique content in here. It's a lot cleaner than having the navigation repeated over and over and over again. And now main.blade.php has the navigation. So this makes it really, really easy if we start using this across all of our other pages. And so let's go ahead and do that. So let's go over to our About page. Once again, the About page, we don't need all this repetitive stuff. So let's get rid of the head, all of that. We can get rid of all of the navigation, and we can get rid of the container. And then this is the closing for the container, so let's get rid of that. And then we don't need any of this as well. This is all in the main.blade.php. This is the only unique part in the whole thing. Look how clean this is. This makes it so much easier to work with. What we need to do is we need to label this section content, and then we need to, at the end of it, tell it that we're at the end of the section, end section. There we go. And then at the top, we just need to tell it where the main layout file is. So we say it extends main. Okay, simple as that. And then before we check it, let's just go ahead and do the same thing with contact. So once again in contact, we can get rid of the whole head. We can get rid of the whole body and navigation. We can get rid of this container. And then we can get rid of the closing div for the container because that's in our main. Get rid of all of this. We just have the contact form basically. Once again, hopefully you guys are getting the hang of this. We need to start it off by saying it extends main. And then we need to label this section. And we're going to label it content. And then at the bottom, we just do at end content. Okay? And not at end section, I mean. Sorry. There we go. Save that. And now let's go ahead and check out our web page. So we're going to refresh. We've got our home page. We got our about page. We got our contact page. Now you might only notice one tiny bug, and that's that it always kind of shows that the home page is the active page. And that's because in our main.blade.php, we have class equals active set for the home page. And because that's replicated across all the pages, every page has that class equals active. We're going to talk about fixing that. There are ways to fix that, and we will explore that and get it fixed soon. But right now, you'll notice that's the only change here. And so we're able to simply, look how much cleaner our code is. We've got our contact form, just the contact form. The about page, it only shows what's unique to about. Our welcome page only has what's unique to welcome. And then if we do need to ever work on the navigation or some of these other elements, it's all here in this main.php. So what we can do now is we could even do some stuff like, after the content is yielded, we could add a footer. Let's add an HR. And then let's add, we'll just add a paragraph tag, and we'll just say copyright Laravel. We'll just say copyright J. Curtis. All rights reserved. Perfect. And give this a class of text center, just like that. It centers the text or whatever. And let's go ahead and save this. And notice how I did this in the main.blade.php. I did it once, and now let's go look at our page. Let's refresh, and bam, right here, automatically inherited into our contact form, automatically inherited into our about form, and automatically inherited into our homepage, which is not working for some reason. Why is that not working? So let's come back here. Oh, how did this happen? Somehow we don't have the homepage linked, but easy fix, guys, because it's only in main, so we'd only have to fix it once. So easy bug to fix because now every single page, it should work. Just like that. So they're all working. I don't know how that happened exactly, but as you can see at the bottom of every page now, we have created a footer, and we only had to do that once. See how easy this is, guys? How awesome and easy it is to work with? Okay, cool. So that is layouts in Blade. Layouts with Blade in Laravel. that, as you can see, starts making the whole application so much more easy to manage. We can take all this repetitive code, use it one time, have one place to go if we ever need to fix it, and everything else can easily inherit it. So if we ever add functionality to our, like we did with the footer, you can see how instantly it's inherited across everything. We don't have to do anything else. That's the power of Blade layouts. All right, guys, so that is how to work with layout files in Laravel. So we learned about how to work with layout files, how to start working with sections and stuff like that, and extending these pages to make everything just a little cleaner and a lot easier. And I hope you enjoyed seeing that, because this is some of the power that working with a framework like Laravel has. Now, at one point in the video, I talked about how I had the Laravel snippets, the PHP Blade snippets, and I had those installed, and I kind of pointed you to the website. Well, I've got a full video that kind of explains that as well. So go ahead and click the video over here to go ahead and check that out if you do want to install that. We installed 2 plugins, one for syntax highlighting, the Blade syntax highlighting, and one that includes some snippets for Blade, just to make everything a lot easier. It works with Sublime. We go through that. It's like 7 minutes long. And then next we've got, on the other side here, we've got a video that goes to the next part of this series, and that's where we actually start looking. We're actually going to work with partials, and it just helps us kind of organize our files even further. So click the video that you're most interested in, and also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. You get instant feedback, or you get instant notification when the videos come out, and then it gives me good feedback that you guys like the videos and everything like that. So I enjoy it. Obviously, a like helps as well, the little thumbs up thing down there. So anyway, thanks so much, guys, for your support. I'll keep the videos coming. I'm trying to do one a day, but these videos take longer than I think you guys realize. They literally can take 3 hours, 4 hours to put together, especially some of these 20-minute ones, these longer ones. I'm trying to keep them at 10, 15 minutes, but sometimes they just get longer. Anyway, it takes a long time, guys, and I have to, allot 4 hours into my day to work on it and edit it and get the little graphics and thumbnails and everything like that. So please understand if I miss a day, it's because I've got a life, I've got a full-time job and stuff like that too. I own my own company, but like I have a full-time job basically. Yeah, so please understand if I don't have a video every day, but I'm working to try to get one every day. That's definitely my goal, and I'm trying to get ahead as well, so that we're working ahead. And then after this series, we got a bunch of good stuff coming up. I've been creating a long list of ideas and everything like that. So anyway, please subscribe, guys, and I got a lot of great tutorials coming soon. I'll catch you later.